how's it going? Happy summer. We are now like in full swing into summer and it feels good, feels nice and warm, and it's fun to be in summer. If you are listening or watching about the same time that I'm recording, then you're in summer too. And if you're not, if you're in winter and you're in the middle of a different season, then welcome anyway. Today, we are going to start talking about, we're going to kind of go back to the basics and talk about a topic for first-time cruisers. So if you have never been on a cruise before, then this might be interesting to you. If you have been on a cruise, then see if you agree with this. And the topic is, I am going to give you 9 things that first-time cruisers always miss, unless I am your travel advisor, of course. So if I was the one that helped you put your cruise together, then hopefully you don't miss any of these things. But let's talk about pre-cruise planning for a minute. Not actually putting the cruise together and deciding what you're going to go on and, all of that kind of planning, but you've got your cruise scheduled and you are getting ready to go. First thing I'm going to tell you is, of course, you are going to need to log in on the website, the cruise line website. And also, one really important thing to do is to download the cruise line app. Each cruise line, major cruise line, has their own app. And while you may not need it in your day-to-day life, it wouldn't do you any good necessarily. But when you are getting ready to cruise, you definitely will want to download the app. We'll talk more about the app as we go through this little presentation, but for the pre-cruise portion of it, you will need to check in for your cruise on the app. And you can sign up for what time you are going to be boarding the ship, when you're going to be arriving, and you will be able to download a picture of yourself and basically your travel documents like your passport and things like that. So all of the things that you kind of need to have and know pre-cruise will be able to be kind of loaded into the app. So that is one reason to have an app. And you can check in for your cruise in advance, like weeks in advance, and you should. So once you get your cruise scheduled, go on and see how much you can get done in the app before you ever even leave. And you will be surprised at how much stuff is there. You can look for excursions, you can look for all kinds of things to do on board, and we'll kind of talk more about that as we get into this. So another thing besides the app that just kind of as you are packing for your cruise in general, all I'm going to say is for the day that you board, make sure that you do not put your passport or whatever you are using to board the ship, your travel documents, do not put those in your checked luggage, because the porters will take your checked luggage and will deliver it to your room, and all you will have is your carry-on, hopefully not very much that you will have, because that's what you'll be responsible for as you are on board before you check in to your room. So make sure that all of your travel docs are in your carry-on that you are bringing with you separately. Also, it's always a good idea to have a few toiletries, medications, maybe a change of clothes, including possibly a swimsuit, or just, something that you may want to change into once you get on board. Your room may not be available for you right when you check in on board. It may not be available for a few hours. But as soon as you get on board the ship, you are welcome to go do everything and anything that you want to on board. You can explore the whole ship, you can eat, you can swim at the pool, you can do all the things. And so if you've got a few items of, if you've got a change of clothes or whatever, a swimsuit maybe along with you, then you can just get right down to enjoying your cruise right from the beginning. So let's talk a little bit about onboard etiquette. I just called it etiquette mostly because there are just a few things to think about or find out before you board your ship and how you are planning on packing. One thing to know is, are there any formal nights on board, and how formal are they? Most 7-day cruises have a couple of formal nights. If you're going on a shorter cruise than that, you may only have one. And the definition of formal varies by cruise line. And so it may be really dressy, it may be just kind of barely dressed up. So there's different things that you may need to know about the formal nights on board. Another thing to know for kind of how to pack is, are you eating at any specialty restaurants, and is there a dress code? So there are specialty restaurants. We're going to talk about that more in depth in a minute, but there may be a dress code for certain ones. Collared shirts, ties, closed-toed shoes, you know, dressy dress pants, or whatever it is. So make sure that you know any of the dress codes that need to be followed for wherever you're going to be on board. Another onboard thing that I want to mention is gratuities, tipping. So generally, your gratuities are not included in the basic cost of your cruise. Sometimes the cruise line is running a promotion or something, and so they do include the cost of the gratuities, but mostly they do not. And the gratuities have a set amount. These are gratuities that are paid to the people that are helping you on board, like your room steward and the maitre d' at the restaurant and any waiters at the restaurants, just all of the people that are there helping you. And the gratuities can be prepaid or just wait to pay them till you are on board. I think the advantage of prepaying the gratuities is then you get it all done and out of your way, and you don't have to worry about, adding up a lot more expenses when you're on board, other than anything that you may want to do during the time you're cruising. So I kind of like prepaying the gratuities. There's no advantage to it as far as like they don't cost less or cost more at one time versus the other. It's really just personal preference of whether you want to prepay them or not. And I always offer that to people, as if I have booked your cruise, I always ask, do you want to prepay your gratuities? Because that's just something that's easy to get out of the way. You also can add more to the cruise amount, if the cruise gratuity amount, if you'd like. You can pay the gratuities. Some people like to bring cash and they like to pay their server or their room steward directly and give it to them. Some people are fine with just what's already allotted and just, go with that. So it's totally up to you, but gratuities are expected and automatically charged. If you don't prepay them, they're just automatically charged as you are on board. So just know about gratuities. That's just a thing. Okay, let's talk about port days. So on the days that you are in port, you have 3 basic options for what you can do. First option, the one that most people know about, is to do an excursion that you have pre-booked through the cruise line. Second option, you can do an excursion that you have pre-booked through a third party. Or third option, you can get off the ship and do whatever you want without any excursions booked. So probably, I guess the simplest thing is to pre-book through the cruise line. And this is something that you can do through the app or online through the cruise line website. So once you have your cruise booked, you can get on and see what all the different excursions are that are offered through the cruise line and just go ahead and book some stuff. If you are interested in seeing kind of what else is out there and you want some different options, then you may want to ask me about the third party option. There are so many reputable excursion companies that I can totally help you with. So if you are interested in looking at other options, sometimes the third party excursion companies are less expensive than the cruise line ones. Sometimes they offer more variety than what's offered through the cruise line. So it may be a good idea to look at some third party. One advantage to booking through the cruise line is that the cruise line kind of takes care of you. So that might give an added layer of security to know that, oh, I booked it through my cruise line, and so they'll, kind of take care of me, or they know if an excursion hasn't gotten back in time or something like that. However, I do have to say that the third party excursion companies that I use they guarantee that you will get back to your cruise ship in time. And so I am not ever worried about, booking someone through a third party excursion that I use. Obviously, you can find some on your own as well. with the option of getting off the ship and doing whatever you want, a lot of first-time cruisers don't know that you don't have to book an excursion. You can just get off the ship and without any planned thing, and you can just do your own thing. So if you do that, sometimes when I have just gotten off the ship and I haven't had anything pre-booked, I feel a little bit like I've missed out, maybe like I haven't, like I've just wandered around or done some shopping or things like that. And so I kind of wonder if sometimes I've missed out on some of the, I don't know, more in-depth or connecting kinds of things to do with the destination that I'm in. So that would be one thing that I would, if you feel like, if you don't want to have FOMO for a certain destination and feel like there's something that you have totally missed or whatever, then I would totally recommend booking an excursion ahead of time. Also, be sure you know what time you need to be back on board the ship, because the ship will leave you if you are not there, whether you're there or not. They will leave you if you're not back in time. So that's on you to get back in time. I would say pre-book the popular things. If you can't decide on some things it's fine to leave until you're on the cruise and then you can decide. Or if you're not super attached to anything, any one thing, then you can totally wait till you get back on board or get on board, like board the ship to book something. But the most popular things definitely sell out. And once they're gone, they're gone. And so pre-book stuff if you can, if it's stuff that you know that you want to do for sure. So that's all I'm going to say about excursions and being in port for now. Okay, let's talk about dining. Now, it used to be back in the day, the first cruise that I ever went on, everything was included. All of the dining, every bit of it. No matter where you ate on board, everything was included. But now that is not the case at all. The cruise lines figured out that they can add specialty restaurants and that they can charge whatever they want. They can charge a surcharge to eat there. Now, there already is stuff that is included, dining that is already included with your cruise, with every single cruise. So don't worry, you will not starve. You do not have to plan to pay money to eat while you are on a cruise. There is always a main dining room, or sometimes a couple of, multiple main dining rooms that are included always. There is always a buffet that is included always. So you will not have to pay any surcharges if those are the places that you eat. Sometimes there are other places, like maybe a little pizza place or something like that, that are included as well. And however, the specialty dining restaurants, which would be something like, oh, maybe a teppanyaki or maybe a seafood restaurant or a steak restaurant. So the specialty dining restaurants are not included. And it's a good idea to pre-book those because they sell out. They only have a certain limited number of spaces and times where they can seat you because they're not huge restaurants. They're, on the smaller side. And so if you think that you want to eat at a specialty restaurant, then definitely that is something that you can pre-book through the app or through the website before you even get on the cruise. So another thing I would say is once you get on board, like be familiar with where all the dining options are. Like, travel around the ship, look at a map of the ship, just so you know where you can eat. Sometimes, right when people first board the ship, everybody totally crowds the buffet, of course, to eat lunch or whatever, because they're hungry when they first get on. But if you know where the main dining room is, which is also included, you may want to go there and you can have a lot less crowded experience sometimes. So familiarize yourself with all the dining options so you don't miss out, so you know what is included and what isn't. Also, this is another little pro tip. If there is something that you need to work out with the main dining room, for example, if you're traveling with other people and you're not sure if you're going to be seated next to them or at the same table with them or whatever, then the best thing, of course, try to work it out before your cruise. If I'm the one that has put your cruise together for you, then definitely, check with me and say, okay, are we for sure eating together? Are we having tables right together? Or are we going to be all at the same table? That kind of thing. If there is still an issue, which sometimes the cruise lines still mess up, even though, I put in the requests and they should know that you're together, sometimes they still mess up. So if there is still a mess up with your main dining room and the table that you're going to be eating at and who you're going to be eating with and all of that, then please just check with the maitre d' at the restaurant the first day you board the ship. So you'll board the ship, you'll, get all checked in and everything, and then just go to that main dining room and check with the maitre d' and say, this is who we are. This is, when we're eating, all of that, and just making sure that we are connected or whatever it is that you need to talk to them about, because that is the perfect time to take care of that. Okay, now let's talk about beverages. Just like with dining, not all beverages are included on a cruise ship. In fact, most of them are not, to be honest with you. What is included? Well, here's what's included. Tap water, lemonade, iced tea, coffee, and hot chocolate from the buffet and with your meals. So that's what is included with your meals. So it's not like nothing is included, but there's not a whole lot that is included. Okay, if you want drinks between meals, any kind of drink between meals, if you want sodas or specialty coffees or alcoholic drinks, then you may want to add a beverage package. Now, the beverage packages aren't cheap, but then again, nor are the drinks cheap on board. And so you may want to just think, okay, I know that I will probably want this many sodas or this many, drinks or whatever it is throughout the day. And so is it worth buying a beverage package? Some of the beverage packages include sodas only. Some include alcoholic drinks. So you just kind of have to look at what works best for you. A bonus tip is that you can bring a refillable water bottle, and some cruise lines let you bring a 12-pack of soda or water on board, or possibly a bottle of wine. So check on that if that is something that you would want to do. You may just be getting there from, getting off the plane, and so you're not going to stop at a store and buy a 12-pack of something. So it wouldn't matter anyway. But if you will already be in the area and it's easy for you to stop by the store and grab something before you board the ship, then that may be an option for you. May help you save some money. With the beverage packages, I would recommend booking it before you sail for sure, because the prices are more expensive if you wait until you're on board to add a beverage package. Also, watch for, sometimes there are sales, and you'll see, like in the app, you'll see the beverage packages and then it'll say, 10% sale or whatever. That really is a sale. It's not just, advertising gimmick that is there all the time. It really is kind of a limited offer type of thing. So if you are interested in a beverage package, just keep watching the app ahead of time and check for if there's a sale. And even if there's not, it's going to be cheaper to prepay before your cruise than waiting till you get on the ship. Okay, activities and entertainment. So each night, let's talk about the nightly entertainment. Each night on board, the cruise line offers entertainment. And a lot of times they'll offer two different ones. They'll offer an earlier one if you are eating later, or a later one if you are eating earlier. So there are some great shows on board. You can pre-book those, sometimes before the cruise, but usually just like pre-book them the day that you board. So make sure to look for the entertainment and pre-book your shows that you're going to go to so you don't miss out. Because again, with lots of people on board, lots of people want to do the same thing that you might want to do. And so it's a really good idea to pre-book any shows that you might want to go to. There are also, of course, onboard daytime activities, and they're mostly all included in the cost of the original cruise. Not all of them. Some of them require an additional cost. Many cruise lines have kids clubs, and those will be included in, just your regular cruise cost. So just kind of look. The best way to find out about some of the entertainment that's offered on board is, again, to look in your app. Also, there is usually a daily newsletter that is delivered to your cabin every evening that talks about the activities for the next day and the things that are going on for the next day. So you're going to want to look at that so that you don't miss anything, because you want to really make the most of your cruise experience. Okay, photos. Let's talk about photos. There are professional photographers on board throughout the entire cruise, and they have backdrops set up lots of times. So beginning with right when you very first board the ship, they will have the first backdrop there and they will take your very first picture. And every afternoon on board, they set up backdrops around in various places around the ship, and they are just there to take your pictures wherever and whenever. Feel free to pose for as many photos as you wish. You know, the more the better, because you're not obligated to pay for any of those. You don't have to get them, but I think it's fun to have photos everywhere, like when you're getting on and off the ship and all over the ship for your formal night, whatever. A lot of families will do, like they'll kind of coordinate their outfits and do a fun photo because you've got professional photographers right there on board. So, and then of course you can go to, there is an actual photo shop on board, and you can go and look at the photos throughout the cruise, and you can select which ones you want to buy at the end of your cruise. So that's fun. You're not obligated to buy any, but it's fun to have, I think it's fun to have a few that are, you know, professionally done. Pro tip, once you disembark, those photos are erased. So do not think, oh, I really want to think about this a little more. I'll contact, you know, Barbara, I'll contact my travel agent, or I'll contact the ship or whatever after, and then I'll buy those later. They are erased once you get off the ship. And so if you want any of those professional photos, buy them before you disembark for sure, or they will be gone. I have had some clients who contacted me after their ship, and they said, we're really interested in, you know, getting some of our photos. We wanted, you know, some other photos from the photo package. And I even tried like to contact the ship just in case that wouldn't be true, and, you know, to try to see if we could get some of their photos after the cruise, and they were gone. They were not available. So get them on the cruise if you want them. Okay, let's talk about health for a minute. Will you get seasick? That is the biggest question, of course, especially for a first-time cruiser, because you wouldn't have experience with going on a cruise ship. It is like a floating hotel, that is true. And there is not, you know, as much motion as being on a smaller boat or ship for sure, but there is still motion. So who knows? It's anybody's guess whether you will get seasick or not. I would say always bring something. Bring something with you for the motion if there's any doubt at all whether you will get seasick, just because you will be glad that you have it. If you know you suffer from motion sickness, then I would recommend not just bringing like Dramamine or whatever over the counter, but I would recommend getting a prescription. There are some really good ones out there, some really great anti-nausea medicine. I like having a prescription for, I suffer from motion sickness. Yes, I do. And it's quite terrible. When I was on an Alaska cruise, the very first Alaska cruise that I went on, I thought, well, look at that itinerary. The ship is just sailing down the coast pretty much the whole time. So it doesn't even look like it's very far out to sea. So I probably won't get seasick. And the first night of the cruise, like when I first boarded the cruise the first day, I didn't take anything because I thought, I'm going to see if I really get sick or not. And sure enough, I was sick even that first night, and started taking my medication, and I was great the rest of the ship, the rest of the cruise. But that very first night, I did learn that for me personally, it didn't matter how far off the shore that we were, how far out to sea we were. For me, I get motion sick. And so anyway, one of my favorite prescriptions is to just get a patch. It's just a little patch, and you put it like right behind your ear. It's skin colored, so it's not like a big eyesore or anything. And you can wear each patch for like 3 days. And so then you just switch it out. You take it off and switch it out for the next one. And it's great. I think it works just great. So anyway, I would recommend bringing something just in case. Side note, on that Alaska cruise, almost everybody in our group, so I was with a family group of people, and almost everyone in our group was seasick that first night. So, and then those of us who were, we knew to start taking medication, and then we were great. All right. One more word of advice, just health-wise, please drink plenty of water, especially if you are going to be in a warm or tropical climate, because your body can get dehydrated and you not even realize it because you're kind of like out of your norm. The last thing I'm going to talk about is tech tips. So like I've said over and over again throughout this presentation, download the Cruise Line app. And that is, important, as you can tell from so many different aspects. Wi-Fi, just kind of switching gear, Wi-Fi isn't typically included with your cruise price. So that is something that you have to pay extra for if you want. There are often different levels of connectivity. So, there's a basic one if you just want to, have texting or whatever. And then there's upgraded ones depending on how much connectivity you want. Like the highest one, usually you can view videos and things like that. So look into the Wi-Fi packages if you are interested in that. And I would also recommend prepaying for the Wi-Fi if you need or want it, because it will be more expensive once you board the ship. On board, the Cruise Line app is invaluable. Like I said, it can tell you all about the daily activities and what's going on where and where you need to be and all the stuff. And another little pro tip is that if your fellow travelers have the app downloaded, you can often stay in touch with them via the app, even if you don't have Wi-Fi. So a lot of times parents and kids will do this if the parents didn't feel like it was that important for the kids to have Wi-Fi while they're on board. If they have the app, then they can often communicate through the app. So that's kind of a cool thing. Sometimes there is a little surcharge for that, but a couple bucks a day to be able to stay in touch with people is often very worth it. Okay, so that is kind of in a nutshell, just some really quick tips for first-time cruisers, or if you haven't cruised for a while, maybe that will kind of jog your memory and help you know some things that you maybe forgot. So if you do need more detailed information, as you can tell, there is a lot of information about cruising. And so if you need more detailed information, if you have any questions, please feel free to ask. Feel free to contact me. I'm happy to help guide you and happy to answer any questions that you have. Happy to help you find a cruise if you're interested in looking for one, whatever you would like. Also, don't forget about our river cruise to France. We are going on a river cruise to France, October 19th through 26th of this year, just a few months away. You are invited. I would really love you to come with us. So if you feel like that is something that you might want to do, contact me and I will give you some more information about that. Also, in conjunction with that, we are having a really great river cruise night all about our river cruise to France. That's going to give us all kinds of details and information all about the river cruise. It will be here in Salt Lake. So I'm in Utah. So if you are close, if you live in Utah and you are interested in attending a river cruise night, there is going to be, just FYI, an additional incentive for booking if you want to attend that river cruise night. It will be June 18th at 7 p.m. And I will give you more details in, upcoming episodes because we've still got a few weeks, but I just wanted to let you know June 18th at 7 p.m. if you are interested in coming to our river cruise night in Salt Lake City. If you are not in the Salt Lake area, but you are still interested, then I want to set up like a Zoom link for that, a Zoom, so that you can still participate and still take advantage of the additional promotion discount that is going to be available only that night. So please stay tuned for more information on that. And thanks for tuning in and joining this episode of talking about cruising. And hopefully it's been informative and good, and enjoy your next couple weeks, and we'll talk to you in a couple weeks. If you've enjoyed this podcast, I would invite you to like, share, or leave a review. Let's help grow our wellness travel community.